Today, I'll be presenting my case study on Winnie the Pooh and ADHD for my psychology and film assignment. So first, let's go through some general information about the topic. My character's name is Winnie the Pooh. He's the main character of the book and TV series of the same name. He's a stuffed bear with a love for honey, and finding more of it is one of his primary goals in life. He lives in the 100-acre wood with his other forest friends, including Tigger, Eeyore, Piglet, and Christopher Robin, who is a human. The 100-acre wood is a forest with very little danger, allowing Pooh Bear and his friends to live without any real threats, which contributes to the overall setting of peace and calm. Winnie the Pooh seems to have inattentive type ADHD. This is characterized by a variety of different symptoms, including a difficulty of maintaining focus, attention, organization, a failure to follow instructions, being easily distracted by external stimuli, and poor listening skills, as dictated by the DSM-5 chart for inattentive type ADHD symptoms. Winnie the Pooh lives in a world that's identical to ours, and a therapist in his universe would most definitely diagnose ADHD in the same manner as our world. There aren't really any barriers for him. Now let's take a step back and look at ADHD and how it's diagnosed culturally. Globally, it's commonly diagnosed, especially in minority areas or rural areas where little is known about mental disorders. People often think of ADHD as just people being lazy or not wanting to pay attention, which couldn't be further from the truth. And we also see that Turkish children are significantly less likely to be diagnosed with ADHD as compared to Dutch children. In fact, even if they were diagnosed, they were more likely to drop out of a treatment plan sooner. Combined with the fact that black children are significantly less likely to be diagnosed with ADHD, showing the discrimination still prevalent in our healthcare system, we can see that ADHD diagnosis that culture has a huge impact on how ADHD is diagnosed. And this is a key problem, especially since globally only 20% of the adults are properly diagnosed with ADHD, something we should strive to improve. Some evidence on why I think Winnie the Pooh has ADHD. For starters, in episode 3 of The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh is tasked with keeping Eeyore happy, as instructed by his friend Piglet. On that day, Eeyore was feeling especially sad, and Pooh thought that the way to cheer him up would be by feeding him lots of honey, which is one of Pooh's favorite foods. However, Eeyore eats and eats and eats honey, and gets way too full. When Pooh sees that Eeyore is full and simply can't eat any more food, Pooh forgets about his task of keeping Eeyore happy and goes on to find more honey. This is a key indicator of the key symptom of difficulty of sustained attention in tasks and activities, as he very easily forgot that he was tasked with keeping Eeyore happy and went on to do another task. Now let's look at a second example. In the next episode, Winnie the Pooh swears to Christopher Robin to protect his balloon. He goes so far as to saying he would protect the balloon with as much love as he does for honey, which is a big promise for Pooh to keep, considering his love for honey. Yet, after just a minute, some simple convincing from Rabbit lets Winnie the Pooh exchange the balloon for just a jar of honey. This shows a failure to follow through with instructions. Both of these symptoms are listed in the DSM-5 for ADHD, which is why I think that Winnie the Pooh has ADHD. Now, he does not display a lack of organizational skills, which is also another key symptom for DSM-5. And we know that these symptoms match for inattentive type ADHD because of the study done by Leahy and other authors. They tested 400 children with 3 subtypes being identified. Inattentive type ADHD displayed all of the symptoms, and the children with inattentive type ADHD matched all the symptoms that Pooh shows, as well as the others that were presented at the DSM-5, which is why we know that these symptoms are associated with inattentive type ADHD. The key ways that Winnie the Pooh could manage his ADHD is with cognitive behavioral therapy. He can practice breaking large tasks down into smaller pieces, attention lengthening practices, which involve focusing on an object for longer periods of time under supervision, and anti-distraction tasks, which involve staring at let's say a dot in the distance while distractors are presented to him. Now, some may recommend medication to go along with cognitive behavioral therapy, but an interesting study by Weiss and other authors have shown that adding in medication with CBT does not have a significant impact on patient well-being. However, just having cognitive behavioral therapy does have a significant reduction in ADHD symptoms. Now, there are some ethical concerns that have been raised. In some richer, more Western countries, we have seen an overdiagnosis of ADHD in younger children. And we know that in Winnie the Pooh's world, there are no known barriers to treatment. He lives in peace, in a happy, peaceful world in the 100-acre wood. To step back to some of the broader perspectives and analyzing ADHD as a whole, Winnie the Pooh has displayed a fairly accurate portrayal of the disorder. It's shown the various symptoms of the condition effectively, but it doesn't go overboard or be disrespectful with it at all, like some other pieces of media do when they try to display mental health disorders. Another interesting thing is that Winnie the Pooh's portrayal of ADHD helps us realize that it's not just about an inability to pay attention or sit still in class. There's many different symptoms and many different ways for the condition to manifest in people, which the show does incredibly wonderfully. And here are the sources I used